Hola, ¿qué tal? Muy buenas tardes. Bienvenidos a la tercera jornada de Enlighted Virtual Edition 2020, la conferencia mundial más importante sobre educación, tecnología e innovación. Ahora más que nunca podemos decir que vivimos en un mundo nuevo y por eso queremos saber cómo va a ser la educación después de 2020. Ayer dimos con claves esenciales para el futuro, hablando de las empresas y el trabajo, y hoy volvemos a rodearnos de los mayores expertos para tratar un asunto trascendental, los colegios. ¿Cuál es el futuro de la educación primaria? ¿Cómo se puede reducir la brecha social y digital? ¿Qué papel tiene la inteligencia artificial en las escuelas? Esto es Enlighted 2020, son las 4 de la tarde y comenzamos. Si le preguntamos a un niño o a una niña que ha aprendido desde que el coronavirus irrumpió en su vida, seguramente nos hablaría de las normas. Y lo cierto es que en muchos casos puede que las hayan asimilado incluso mejor que nosotros, que los adultos. Decía Kant que el ser humano es lo que la educación hace de él y ahora es más importante que nunca plantearnos cómo educamos a las generaciones futuras. Para actuar, primero hay que saber a qué riesgos se enfrentan los colegios en estos tiempos y sobre todo qué oportunidades se presentan. De los riesgos hemos escuchado de todo en estos últimos meses. Es como si los colegios estuvieran navegando por el Cabo de Hornos, cada día amanecen con una nueva tormenta. Pero por suerte, la madera de la que están hechos es enormemente resistente y cuando la tormenta amaina, los horizontes se ven más nítidos. Es ahí cuando surgen las oportunidades. En un mundo donde la inteligencia artificial ya está presente en las clases, es el momento de afianzar la educación del futuro. Para hablar de todo esto, tenemos hoy con nosotros a dos sabios, dos personas con carreras absolutamente excepcionales. De su mano vamos a descifrar el mapa de los caminos de la educación. Tenemos la suerte de contar hoy con el investigador físico y estadístico alemán Andreas Schleicher. Desde 2012 es director de Educación y Competencias de la OCDE. Además, es impulsor del informe PISA. Schleicher es un firme defensor de la colaboración como clave para el futuro de la educación. Hoy va a charlar con otra eminencia en el campo de la educación y la innovación, Fernando Reimers, profesor de la Fundación Ford de Práctica en Educación Internacional y director de la Iniciativa Global de Innovación Educativa y del Programa de Política Educativa Internacional de la Universidad de Harvard. Lo dicho, dos sabios. Los dos además han trabajado mano a mano en una guía para la educación responsable ante el coronavirus. Hoy les hemos sentado de nuevo juntos para hablar de la respuesta global que necesita esta crisis. Andreas, Fernando, welcome to Enlighted 2020. Are we on the way to a global response?
Who would you like to start?
Andreas.
Fernando, you want to start?
Yeah, Andreas, yourself.
I'm happy to start. I've had the pleasure of collaborating with Andreas over the last several months, trying to assess what impact and what opportunities has this pandemic created for education leaders and system, and documenting some emerging responses. And the message is very much a combined message. On the one hand, there is no question that this is a serious calamity that places at risk educational opportunity globally. So I'm delighted that we're talking about that because this is a very serious moment for education around the world. We are on the brink of potentially mortgaging the future of the next generation. At the same time, this is an enormous opportunity for innovation and collaboration, which we have documented. And we have seen in this pandemic the exceptional, the very valuable role that leaders at all levels, at the school level, at the city level, at the state, at the national level, can play in promoting innovation when they bring different actors together, civil society and government, when they open the opportunity for teachers to become partners in generating responses, in using technologies in new ways. So I think that the experience of the last 7 months has generated an enormous innovation dividend. It has shown us how is it that we need to lead in the future to make education systems more adaptive, more resilient, more responsive in helping young people develop the capacities they need to invent the future. Andreas.
Yeah, your question on whether we are moving towards a global response, I would say yes for the first time. Education used to be a very inward-looking, nationally oriented kind of phenomenon. Teachers were working in isolation in their classrooms. Schools did not know very much what's happening in the neighboring school. And education system rarely talked with each other. And I do think that this crisis has fundamentally changed that. You can see teachers reaching out to other teachers. Everybody is in the same boat. Everybody confronts the same new challenges. Nobody has the answer. And it's the search for a teacher-professional collaboration. You can see that at the level that we have not seen before. You can see schools building networks of innovation, sharing good practice, sharing ideas. And you can see parents engaging in this. And for the first time, parents got a real sense of what education is about, and that this is a whole of society project, not just, an institution where you send your children. I think many parents got that message. I think we have an opportunity. And the same, now I'm coming to the global, the same we see at the international level. In the past, when you went to a meeting of education ministers, you would see many of them just reading a statement of what they do in their own country. Now they're starting to ask questions. They're actually asking more questions than they, provide answers. They look at what other countries are experiencing. You can see the mutualization of open education resources. Now, that's what we talked about for 20 years, and very little has happened. Now you can see actually real action on this. You can see on the technological frontier, you can see technological solutions being shared across borders, across cultures. So I think the pandemic has certainly brought people a lot closer together. Nobody's going to win this alone. Okay.
Oh.
So, yeah. Fernando, what do you think about that?
Well, I agree, Andreas, with what you have said. I do wonder whether the pandemic is going to produce similar progress in different places. I think what we're seeing is that in places where we have good leadership, this has created an opportunity to, take the city of Bogota, for example, which we studied, on which we wrote a case study. Under exceptional leadership, it really created an opportunity to open the school to the city, to get many new actors to participate, to do the things you're describing. But we do know that there isn't the same kind of leadership in every school district, in every jurisdiction. And one of the concerns I have is that some of the gaps in opportunity are actually augmenting very fast at this time. And the question in my mind is, what can a global response do to address those gaps? I don't doubt for a moment that this pandemic is essentially catapulting some systems really into the 22nd century. You look at institutions like Harvard University, for example. We have done something extraordinary in little time, essentially gone online. But we are a very well-endowed, very well-resourced university that has invested a lot over the last few months building the capacity of faculty. But I know that not every university in the world, even in the United States, has the same resources. And what I see happening is growth, an increase in the gap. And I don't know what can a global response do to address that, or whether we should accept the fact that this pandemic is going to generate some great things and some real losses, institutional and individuals. I don't know, what thoughts do you have about what we could do together to address that?
Yeah, I think what is clear is that this pandemic is polarizing our education system. It's polarizing opportunity. You see that at the student level. Students who have learned to learn on their own, who have access to great resources, who have, no teachers or parents or others who build a kind of supportive ecosystem around them. For them, this has been maybe liberating and exciting. You learn on your own, you have access to much more interesting environments than just listening to a teacher in a classroom. But for the many students who do not have those kinds of cognitive resources, who've never got really interested in learning, never understood why they were in school, who do not have the parents supporting them, who have no access to technology, this is devastating. And they're going to be left for a very long time. And you can see the same at the level of education systems. And if you look to the years to come, in Europe we are going to sort of see an economic stagnation and depression. But if you're in the developing world, money was everything. And there was actually, even before the crisis, the total kind of infrastructure was entirely inadequate. So I do see that. And I think that's exactly where the global response is called for. We haven't done very well on the medical front, one must say. We have lots of enterprises working on vaccines. We don't have a really globally coordinated effort. And that's probably even more so true in education. We are just beginning to share our experiences, our resources. And different from the medical field, the good thing is that there is nobody's sharing knowledge, sharing experiences at nobody else's loss. In a way, I think we will all become better by building more global repositories for innovative education practices, for curriculum design, curriculum implementation. I really think there is an opportunity. I can actually see that more people understand that now, and there's a greater willingness to engage in this. But we lack the infrastructures, we lack the institutions who mediate that. And I think that's what we need to work on. I personally think there is a very, very important opportunity and need. In a way, you can argue that if you take a country like the United States, as many problems as there are to solve, but education outside your borders will matter more for your future than the education inside your borders. And that's true for much of the industrialized world. So I think we have every reason to share our expertise. And but again, I think we should start at the very local level. We should create more of a collaborative culture within our schools so that it becomes more natural for teachers to share their experience, to demonstrate the experience, to learn from others, not just to look upwards to the school leader or the administration, but to look outwards. And we should create more of a culture in the school system. A good school system is not, 20,000 isolated schools. A good school system is one that connects, that builds a kind of common resource. And I think sort of collaboration really grows. You highlighted leadership, which I think is absolutely central. There is nothing that works without great leadership. If in a stable condition when everything is, stable, leaders don't matter that much. But in a moment of volatility, leadership matters a lot. But again, as a leader today, don't ask yourself how many people are going to follow your instructions or your advice or your ideas. Ask yourself how well your people can collaborate. The teachers at the front line, the schools, and so on. And I think if we strengthen that, at the local level, at the regional level, at the national level, it will grow at the international level as well. Once again, I think every education system has understood that the status quo, that going back to the status quo is not the future now.
Yeah, one of the areas where I'm really very hopeful with the dividend of the pandemic is in generating widespread understanding of the importance of emphasizing a wide range of skills and capacities for the 21st century. Now, this is a topic in which you yourself, the OECD, UNESCO, other institutions have been working for a while. What is it that people should know in the 21st century? But I'm not sure that those conversations had really penetrated the consciousness of the vast majority of the population. And I think that this pandemic had made visible why things like the capacity to learn autonomously are important, why the capacity to work with your peers without much direction from your teacher is essential, why the preparation to understand a rare event like a pandemic, a global event, is a critical competency. So I know that you are releasing tomorrow the last volume of the latest PISA study, where you are going to talk about what are these capacities that make what I call a global citizen? What are these capacities that help people understand climate change, relate to the environment in sustainable ways, relate to difference? And I think this is the time when most people have understood that. So I am hopeful that out of this pandemic, there's going to be much greater receptiveness for deep transformation of education that actually does a better job holding everybody to much higher standards that we've done in the past. And it will be, I know that even 10 years ago, there were all kinds of national and local pressures that were very reluctant to the idea of a global compass, a global set of objectives that we said everybody should learn that in the 21st century, no matter where you are. And I think that has changed. I think we're in a much better time now, for example, to understand that developing the capacities that can help us mitigate and slow down climate change is really not an option. It's a necessity of survival. Do you see it that way? I don't want to. Maybe you can tell us where you're going to present these findings, so you don't present them right now. But do you have a sense that this is a more receptive moment for that message?
Yeah, and I think what is encouraging, actually, that the young people are ahead of us. They are ahead of the education systems. We looked at, for example, individual resilience, to what extent young people are open to an uncertain future, to in dealing with tensions and dilemmas, to manage and resolve conflicts, to be aware of global issues. If you drink a coffee in Madrid, you understand that this may have implications for workers on a plantage somewhere in South America. I think that awareness is actually there. What we don't have often is the learning environments. Educational institutions are still very much sort of transaction oriented. You learn something, but you're not engaged. Global citizenship, global competency is not about passive learning. It's about doing it. And the young people that we surveyed are actually very willing. And that's what's the most interesting finding is that's the most consistent finding across the world. Yes, there's a little bit of variation across countries, but the variation is so much bigger when it comes to the institutions that we have. Some are very traditional, very kind of subject-oriented, making students passive learners, teachers, service providers, parents, clients, and others you can see as a kind of enterprise where everybody contributes, where students learn, where teachers learn, where schools learn. And so I think our institutional structures have become out of date, and the technology is just a perfect example for that. Now we have, used technology to conserve existing practice, not to transform it. And I think that's now the young people are going to push us. I think we just need to listen more to them. And I think you, Fernando, in a university are in a great place to do that. You work every day with people. You can shape that future now.
One of my hopes is that we're going to see much greater integration across institutions, really building an ecosystem that is not just a concept. For example, much greater integration between universities and K through 12 institutions, much greater collaboration across universities, much greater collaboration across international agencies. Certainly, if there is one thing we have all learned in this pandemic is that technologies that allow us to have these conversations make it possible for us to have communication with people no matter where they are, as long as they have an internet connection, which I think is a lot of people. It's not everybody, but it's a lot of people. So I'm really hopeful that we're going to continue to use this technology to promote collaborative modes outside the silos of institutions. And in particular, I think if we could connect universities with schools, that would go a long way, because it seems to me that the development of the kind of high quality curriculum, pedagogical experiences that we need is something that most schools are not equipped to do on their own. So while on the one hand, I do think the 21st century requires that we increase the autonomy and the professionalism of schools so that they make the best decisions for their own students. I think we cannot leave schools to their own devices to figure out how to do that. They should be integrated in networks, working with others. And I'm hopeful that we'll be able to make that transition. We'll see.
Yeah, I think the integration with the university sector is important. Integrated with other parts of society is, I think, equally important. Schools used to be very good in keeping students inside and the rest of the world outside. And I think that needs to change. And they're always oriented to look upwards rather than upwards. And I think that's something that, and again, I think young people after this pandemic, I think you're going to have a lot of young people who will go back to their teachers and says, well, I've understood so many new things. I've learned to learn on my own. why can't we do more of that in our classrooms, in our schools? And I hope that pressure will change. I'm not so sure, the impact of technology is something I think that is very hard to sort of assess. On the one hand, yes, technology allows us to connect with everyone, to, build bridges and links everywhere. But, it's connecting us with people who think like us, who walk like us, who look like us. I think the siloation actually could be bigger in this age. And in the past, 50 years ago, when you went to school, you meet the whole range of diversity there. Now you meet people from other fields. Today, where the technology is dominating, you're much more shielded from different ways of thinking, different ways of walking. I think that's one of the great risks. I do think that's why the relational part of schooling is so important. As the teachers of the future need to be really good coaches, need to be good mentors, need to actually integrate, different perspectives. Because I don't think technology on its own is going to do that. I think it could do actually quite the reverse. We see, artificial intelligence is going to transform knowledge transmission in amazing ways. But again, all it is a great accelerator and a great amplifier. It's going to accelerate and amplify good practice, good ideas, in the same way it accelerates bad ideas and bad practice. So I think that makes that human judgment, that human skill actually far more important than it is today. A lot of functions of teachers, probably going to disappear. I think it's going to be so much more interesting to do an experiment in a virtual laboratory than just listen a teacher talking about that experiment. But again, I think that social relational function will not come from nowhere. I think particularly global competency, this kind of intercultural understanding, this empathy at the personal level, at the institutional level, at the societal level, is going to be something that really needs to be built. And that perhaps is something that we underestimate when we look at technology now.
One of the challenges of our times, I think, concern three interrelated educational topics. And I wonder whether the pandemic is going to make it easier to address it or not. One of the challenges is we have these growing post-factual set of beliefs that deny the value of science, that question, in fact, whether there is something like an objective truth. And that is very harmful. We have seen the harm that this has caused in the United States, the fact that some people believe that you can dispense with expert knowledge when you're dealing with the pandemic. And so I would think that one of the urgencies of the moment is to inculcate in people the capacity to think like a scientist, the capacity to understand that there are some truths, provisional as they are, that we can all agree on, whatever your political beliefs are. And I know that we're not there. I remember looking at data from PISA from one of the last administrations and just knowledge about the environment, capacity to understand scientific facts. We have a long way to go for many kids in that domain. So that's one issue. The second issue, which is a challenge for our time, is this growing intolerant set of beliefs in some parts of the population, these nationalistic, xenophobic, intolerant beliefs that essentially denies the notion that we should have equal human rights for every person, whatever their race and so on. And we see that finding expression in political forms in this country and in other countries. And that, of course, concerns schools, concerns the civic capacity of schools. And the third and related challenge, which I think relates to what you were discussing with technology, is the need for exercising the ethical capacity of people to understand that educating a person is also about educating an ethical framework that helps you make moral choices with technology and so on. So all those things, in my mind, are a challenge of our time, a challenge that schools could address and should address. But I don't know whether this pandemic is going to cause us to address them or make it harder to address it. How do you see it?
Yeah, I think this is perhaps the most important question of all. On the xenophobia, there is a fascinating set of findings from our new kind of analysis, and I probably shouldn't talk about it now, but I will just say one thing. Actually, some of the answers are very simple. What we do see is where students actually meet people from other cultures, where they meet students with an immigrant background. Exactly. Actually, you don't have xenophobia. So sometimes the cures are actually very simple. It's just exposing people to the real problem. It's the people who do not know people are afraid of what they do not know, what they don't understand. So building, I think, a better kind of foundation is in my view, very vital. But I think the bigger question is really how are we as individuals, as societies, willing to make trade-offs between the present and the future? The one thing that you can see when you look at the education systems that are moving fastest, they know the importance of the future and they're willing to make sacrifices today to build a better future. You know, they invest in the education of their children rather than in their consumption today. They sort of, and I think we have lost that. We have indebted ourselves at the individual level. We have, cut the trees that we now need to save our environment. We have sort of really prioritized the consumption, the present, and sacrificed the future. And I think getting that balance right. And one thing that this pandemic shows is that where societies are willing to look beyond themselves and the wearing of masks for me is a great indicator for this. Right? You don't wear a mask in this pandemic to save yourself. You wear a mask to ensure that others people are protected. And some societies seem to be readily engaging with this. That's a concept for them. Of course, I'm going to do this. And they do that even not just for this pandemic, but even if people have a cold. You have a cold, you wear a mask. And other societies have a harder time with this. I think the pandemic is teaching us that actually we need to look beyond ourselves in space to other people and in time beyond our individual times. That's the big climate and environmental challenge. And whether we are going to extrapolate from this and then you deal better with climate change in the future, I think a lot of that depends what's happening today in the classroom. In a way, society has created a great framework for this, and that's the Sustainable Development Goals. Now, but the extent to which that will become a reality will depend very, very much on what's happening in today's classrooms. Now, I think this is not coming natural to people. Naturally, the natural reaction is, I do whatever I can, what a situation allows me to do. The kind of bridging social capital, I look upwards, is something that we need to build in children and students and learners.
On this power of what we learn from others who are different, I think the pandemic has given us a real opportunity for most teachers, for many students, to engage with others across all kinds of boundaries. And I think this is a good thing. If you think about the world 7 decades ago, even more recently, the connections between ideas in a country and ideas and practices in other places were largely mediated by governments or by large corporations. And I think that new technologies have changed that. It is now possible for people to be in communication. My sense is that most teachers in the last 7 months, have had more communications with teachers who are different than they are than in the previous 7 years. And I think good things will come from that, in that maybe it is going to create a new accountability for governments. So, take PISA, for example, which I think is a good opportunity for governments to learn from one another. The results you're going to present tomorrow, which basically tell us, well, how do countries compare? In how do kids in different countries compare in terms of what they know and how they care about the environment? Until very recently, and still today, a government could say, we don't want to be part of it. Like, it's unfortunate that the United States is not represented because our Department of Education decided we were not interested in that part. But at this moment, every American teacher is going to know that the government made that choice. Every student is going to know that as a result of that. And I'm hoping that this will cause governments to realize that they no longer have the monopoly of making it possible for people to meet along all lines of difference. And I'm hoping about the kind of world that would build. How do you see it?
Yeah, I think this is, in a way, again, the kind of democratization of education. I think it's becoming very real. And in a way, even on the positive side, even the best Minister of Education can no longer do justice to millions of students and hundreds of thousands of teachers. What you need to do is, we are spending so much effort to push ideas into classrooms and schools, top down, rather than, finding the good ideas, scaling them and spreading them. And that is what, the network society is all about. We are doing that really, really well when it comes to collaborative consumption. You share your car, you share your apartment, and all of those things. When it comes to education, it's still a very novel phenomenon. But I do think it's going to change, and I think it's going to change the relationship between students and teachers. It's going to change the relation, because the same is not only true between governments and schools. You have the same with students and teachers. Now, students now have access to the same knowledge that the teachers have in principle. And I think all of those dynamics mean that this idea of co-creation will become very important. You see this already today, where you do not engage the experts, the teaching profession, in the design of reform. They rarely help you with implementation. Most of the reforms that are just coming to schools are falling over. And I think that's something that today people have access to knowledge, they can use it, but still it requires a very, very strong infrastructure. And that's for me what an education system is about. If you just believe in markets are going to sort this out, you're going to see that's not working. Actually, in the field of education, there's no example where markets have, sorted that out. I think it requires a very, very strong system that creates incentives for people to look upwards, to collaborate. And then I think it could work. And I do, as you said, I think universities will need to play a very, very central role in that. Not in terms of, now we're going to teach schools how to do it well, but how to actually, create that kind of research mentality in every teacher, in every kind of school leader, that they all become part of this research enterprises that advances the profession. And I think we will also have much more resilient schools and institutions. At the moment, education is so volatile to often arbitrary political decisions. Here's a reform today, there's another one tomorrow. Nobody's accountable for the consequences. And I think that's going to change with this. As the stronger the profession, the less afraid you have to be of, being subjects of arbitrary decisions. I hope so. I think that's something.
Yeah. One of the possibilities that I see, but I also see the risks, is that we're going to see that technology is going to enable much greater integration of institutions, not just in building networks, but actually building larger institutions that can produce things of a very different quality. I'll give you one example. Just recently, Google decided they were going to get into the business of skill development. And I think that is terrific, because one of the things we need in the 21st century is the opportunity for people to reinvent themselves, lifelong learning. They're going to bring this business of helping people develop skills to a whole new level simply because of the heft of the enterprise. I see all kinds of possibilities, right? Imagine that kind of power put in service of developing a very high quality climate change curriculum, a very high quality world history curriculum, or something like that. And I see the possibilities. You think, for example, about the many private schools that exist around the world, which in my mind are an engine of innovation. It's a possibility to have someone operate with different rules and generate new ideas. It's a very fragmented system. Most of them are very small. There are very few networks of schools, and they're not very large. I don't think there is a single one that has more than 100 schools. I think it's a matter of fact. We can expect that within the next 10 years, we're going to see an integration of those networks. And I think that would be to the benefit. The risk, of course, is that we may lose variability, right? I would not want to see a world of education ruled by simply Google or Facebook. I'd like for them to be players, but I wouldn't want to be a world in which kind of Amazon takes all. So how do we manage that balance to bring the benefits of scale, which we badly need to produce very high quality curriculum, pedagogy, hybridization, without losing something that is essential to education, which is the possibility of honoring variation across many different contexts and jurisdictions?
Yeah, I think that's I think a very, very difficult dilemma. But I think our best guardians against that trend of, uniformization, standardization, homogenization are the professionals. That if outside companies take education over, probably they just look at the infrastructure aspects. But I think if the profession itself has a very strong role, and I can see that the people at the front line will become the guardians of the process. This is really, why I think it's so important that we do not leave curriculum designed to a handful of experts, and I don't really mind whether they are, these are experts in a government or experts in another institution, but that this is something where those people who really know about education, and these are the teachers and educators at the front line, they are the drivers of this process. I think this is our best insurance against the trend of, someone is going to take all of this over.
Andreas, Fernando, Andreas, I'm so sorry, but we are out of time. However, I have a few minutes for a final conclusion. So what do you think is the main lesson that we can learn today? Fernando?
Well, the main lesson we can learn is that humans are capable of extraordinary things in the most difficult circumstances. And we have seen that in the last several months. And we're going to need a lot of that leadership. We're going to need a lot of that heroism, a lot of that capacity of bending the course of history. Because the inertia that this pandemic has created is very dangerous. The inertia that this has created is that we could see the worst loss of educational opportunity, particularly for the most vulnerable children around the world. And we do need leadership. We need continued exercise of leadership to make sure that we do not allow that loss to materialize, that we actually take this moment as the foundation of a renaissance in education.
Andreas, what is your feeling? What is the main lesson that we can learn today?
Yeah, I think to trust the ingenuity of people, to build better frameworks, more support for people to rise to the challenge, to give more professional empowerment, to strengthen a kind of collaborative culture in education. I think those are our best bets to actually ensure that we come out of this crisis stronger, to build a strong and resilient education system. We cannot predict the future. We need to think in terms of alternative futures. We need to prepare ourselves for different scenarios, to be more open to change. We have spent so much time to teach young people the established wisdom of our times. We need to be better in helping people question the established wisdom of our times and to think, around the next corner. And I think where we have done that in this pandemic, schools and education systems have done quite well. And like Fernando, I see enormous social and technological innovation happening right now that should make us hopeful that we have actually the resource, the capacity for this, whether we build the institutions and the support and I think that is the question that we will need to answer.